Hello, everybody. We are live. We're back today for another episode of Always Almost There, day after show. We are very, very excited to be here to talk about last night's intimate affair in Athens, Georgia. We've got Drew here. Hi, Drew. How are you?
What's up, guys? How's it going?
Thanks for being on today. Very excited to have you on the pod to talk about last night's show. Before we get started on that, of course, got to talk about today's sponsor, which is Beekeepers Naturals. Powered by nature and obsessively tested, Beekeepers uses potent ingredients like propolis, pollen, and royal jelly and steers clear of added chemicals. In a day and age where we want to boost our immune system as much as possible, Beekeepers Naturals has many products from lozenges to gut health supplements to support us and tap into the magic of nature. Personally, I don't leave home without one of their propolis throat sprays, especially supportive when singing my heart out at shows. Use code STORMSOUND at checkout, 20% off your order. Very exciting stuff. So, Drew, you were in Athens last night. Small show, but a lot of fun. Tell me about getting to the venue, getting in, what the vibe was like pre-show.
So I went in around doors. There was not a crazy line to get in, and getting in went really smoothly. It was really quick. And we got in the pit, Peter side, and surrounded by UGA students who were all really excited. The enthusiasm level was very high last night. You could kind of feel it in the air. And, I thought that the bar lines were quick. The bathroom line wasn't bad. You had your typical long merch line, of course, but really cool venue. I didn't realize how small the pit is. It's really small. It was definitely crowded in there. There was not a ton of room to dance, but everybody was really respectful.
Nice. Sure. Yeah, we could tell we were talking, as the show was starting and we could see the crowd. We were like, wow, it looks like sardines down on the floor there. Like
we were sardined in there.
Well, glad the crowd was nice and respectful. That's good to hear. So they come on a mere 40 minutes after ticket time, maybe closer to 45. But we get a great tumble opener. Always a really strong way to open a show. This one was almost 20 minutes long. Solid within the bounds of tumble, but great way to get the show going. What was it like for this opener?
Everybody's really excited. We kind of thought this one was coming. And there's a lot of people, I was surrounded by UGA students in there, and it was a lot of their kind of first shows, or maybe they had caught a show at Pullman, but they were still kind of new, and still some people singing tumble. And as soon as the music started, everybody was locked in, and there was really no side conversations. I was very pleasantly surprised with that.
Nice. That's good.
And yeah,
that's good. And then, one of my favorite moments from the show last night was the segue from Flea into Green River. I thought that was really well executed by the band. The way that they were kind of the Flea jam was going. I haven't seen a picture of the written set list, and so I'm curious, actually how the whole show was supposed to play out and how much of it was scripted. Because there's another segue later in the show that I want to talk about that did not sound scripted at all. But this one was great. Peter really digging into a nice vibe on the piano, which ended up carrying into Green River very well. Nice Chugli song, of course, which is the CCR trademark. But yeah, this pairing.
So when Green River started up, I thought Trevor was going to blow a speaker. Like, he was booming. They had him cranked up, especially for that Green River. It sounded really good. I think that's the second Green River I've caught. The first one was in Waynesville, the drive-in. Nice. And this one had an extra energy to it for sure. They were hype.
Mm-hmm. It was a good one. Yeah, that was the first Green River since Richmond in September. It was 40 shows. Oh, and we have another surprise guest checking in. We've got Katie, who would like everybody to know that she is not a contributor to this podcast. She's here today. She is our Georgia correspondent. She was not at the show last night, but she lives in the state of Georgia, so it counts. Katie, just to get you up to speed, we're 3 songs into the show. We've got Tumble, Flea, Green River. your take on this opening?
Well, I always love a flea. Well, I have a lot of takes on this show. I think that this show is perfect for Georgia theater, and I think they performed the perfect tumble, the perfect flea for the audience at Georgia theater. I think it was a very different show, and we should have different expectations for it, just based on kind of the audience that it was originally ticketed for. And I think given that, there's not a ton of, I think, jams to really go into on this show, but I think they hit some huge ones. Drew, were you there?
He was.
Yes, I was. I was
As
in the pit.
the audience, tell me. What is your take on it? Just that's like my overall.
I think there was definitely a lot of UGA students and people there. It was their first show, and I think they got a lot of the songs they really wanted to hear last night. And I was impressed. Like I said, everybody was really locked in. All these young 20-year-olds, 19-year-olds, they were super locked in. They weren't really talking or anything. They were really focused on the music, which was nice, I thought.
Yeah, I definitely, it made me think of like, I would have chased this show. I think a lot of people would have chased this show. I talked to some people it was a first show. Some people I know there are several in, both enjoyed it, but I just kept trying to remember because it seemed just different. I know we'll get into Arcadia, but everything was just kind of clean and cut in there. But that's kind of the perfect show for what it was and where it was.
Nice Tuesday night party show for university students, And then so after Green River, get a nice flow down. Probably the best Thatch we've heard to date, and Silver Rising kind of making up the middle of this set. Flow down obviously seemed like a pretty obvious call coming for this show. They like to play it at a party show. Nothing crazy on the intro. Thatch, this is the first Type 2 Thatch, I believe. Really, really fantastic jam on this one. One of my definite highlights of the night. And then Silver Rising is always so good anywhere it's played. This song is great. Drew, what was this segment like in the room?
Thatch, Trevor was about to bring the speakers down. He was cranked. It was pushing us back some moments. I mean, people were really getting energy off of Trevor, just hitting one of those loud bass notes. And, I think Peter said that was Thatch because I think a lot of people didn't know that one, but everyone enjoyed it for sure. Everyone was really feeling that song.
That's how you know it's a bunch of casual fans at a show, because anybody who's a cat, like if you don't know what Thatch is at this point, you're not following Goose properly. But
well, they all knew Arcadia. Right. They made that clear. So.
Yes, they did.
Yes,
they did.
I do want to go back to Flow Down. I know there's not really often much that we'll have to add to that, but the curtain, Ryan was about the curtain.
Thank you. The curtain of lights, man. What was that? What was that like in the room? That took me by surprise on the webcast, and it was so cool.
I mean, yeah, I hadn't seen that before. I don't know if they've done that.
I hadn't seen it before either.
I think it really showed off for Slow Ready, especially. Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, it's a really small stage in there too, but it looked like they had all the lights going, and it looked amazing in there, I thought.
But yeah, that curtain was so cool. I'm hoping that's not the last time we see it. It might be part of the different light rig for a smaller venue that they were using last night. Obviously, they can't fit the full light rig in a venue of that size. So hopefully that curtain makes an appearance again soon, because yes, that was a very, very cool effect. That must have been so cool in person.
I do love seeing how much Godey's gone, how much he can do on the big screen, the bigger stages, and then giving him a little one in the middle of it all. Yeah. And it's just like, oh my God.
We love Getty. And then the first set closes with an Empress poetry sandwich. This was quite the poetry reading. It was Trevor took a second to pour himself some Mountain Dew and read some of "Fuck the Pain Away" by Peaches.
I'm impressed how quickly some people identified it.
Yeah, shout out to Neil, who knew what it was right away. But it was amusing, as Trevor reads poetry tends to be. And then the Empress Jam was amazing. Oh my God, Peter's doing his weird reverby modulation thing on the organ. Speaking of which, for anybody who is so inclined, just today on Storm Sound YouTube channel, Peter's rig tour is out. It's 35 minutes long, and he goes through every single possible thing that you can go through in his keyboard rig. So go check that out. You can find it, links to it, social media at Stormy Podcast or Storm Sound on YouTube, which might be where some of you are watching it right now. Wow. Anyway, so this was an awesome way to close the set. Drew, what was this like?
It was fun. There was some there's some students in front of me that were going crazy for Empress. I mean, that the craziest of, they went all night, dancing. Space started to open up because people were getting it for Empress. It was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I know earlier we were talking about Ryan, like if Thatcher Empress, what was the best of the show? I say Empress because of exactly what you just said, Drew. It kind of like it encompassed everything that I think this show was. It's such a fun show. Live and it's such a fun song to catch live, and it's just everything. I think with that crowd, I've never seen like a boring Empress.
Yeah, and I don't think it's a song that can be boring. Also interesting to see it in the first set. Not a place it crops up very often. The only other one off the top of my head I can think of, at least recently, would be Westville last year. It closed the first set, but this is good. Empress works anywhere in a show. I'm hoping that someday they're going to come out and open a show with Empress. I think that would be a really cool move. But man, this was great. And so set break, Drew, what was it like in the building?
We were headed for the bathroom line, got a restock at the bar, and everything was really smooth. Again, the pit was slammed, so just getting out and getting back in was kind of a mess. But I think it flew by. By the time I went to the bathroom, got a drink, we were getting ready to start up. And then in the second set, the pit kind of filled in even more.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So, but it kind of opens up once the show starts going. It's kind of that in between time that everyone's kind of on top of each other.
Right.
It's interesting, especially after the like hyped up Empress in the first. I could see people being like, now it's fun, as they see it kind of opening up, being like, I'm going to go down there after. So
yeah, well, I mean, especially when they open the second set with Arcadia, first time in a year and a half since they've opened set 2 with Arcadia. I mean, obviously the song works anywhere in the show. This is a really, really solid version, like probably 14, 15 minutes or so. Not outside of Arcadia, but Arcadia just kills every single time. And I was saying last night, there's something like one of my favorite Goose musical moments is when they hit back into the ending chords for the first time, after they've gone through whatever peak they're going through, and they go down into that first, it's an A chord when they hit it. But there's something special about that. But Drew, this obviously was the peak of the sing-along in the room.
Yes, as soon as they started going into it, the crowd just starts screaming those first couple lines, and I think that was like a peak excitement. We did have that Empress that everyone was loving, and then we started back with that Arcadia, and everybody knew the words to that one.
Love it. The question, the last Arcadia second set opener was Kansas City 2021, 11-17. Yes. This was excellent. And then Slow Ready up next, which I was a little bit kind of iffy on. I was like, okay, this in the second set. And I think it's been a few versions since they jammed it. And I had kind of forgotten that was a thing that they do sometimes. And so I know. And then when Peter kept the arpeggiator going after, they finished the usual song part, I was like, oh, yeah, like this is a thing, hinting at the Eminence front throughout this, but man, what a groove they got into and just sat in this groove and very well explored. This might be the GOAT Slow Ready now.
It was maybe of the year. Calm it down. It was during that song that I got the most messages from friends who were attending, friends who had been to other Goose shows, not the new ones, but the friends like who are hyped for all those songs, but are looking more for that song to get jammed out, that's the one that they were commenting on. By the time it hit Slow Ready, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the lights were absolutely on point for Slow Ready. It's one of my favorite Slow Readies that I've seen for sure. The crowd was loving it, and Peter was really getting into the groove, and it was excellent.
Yeah, Peter's always getting into the groove.
Peter had some dancing last night.
There was, I think it was Haps who was noting the new
dance or what, disco dancing? Is that what we were noting?
There was something, but there's always an interesting dance move of some kind during Slow Ready. So that was fun. Rock the Casbah was not a song I was expecting to pop up in the middle of the second set here, but it seemed like people loved it.
Yep, everyone knew the words to that one, and they were loving Jeff singing it back there, and it was a fun cover that everyone knew and could sing along with.
And let Jeb sing. Classic. Do want to clarify that it was not an Eminence Front tease, it was an Eminence Front CCP. There was nothing specifically Eminence Front about it. It just had the vibe. Yes.
Oh my God.
And then the set closes with Hot Tea, Turned Clouds, Hot Tea. This is the segue that I definitely don't think was planned. Again, we haven't seen a copy of the written set list from last night yet, so I'm curious whether it was or not. But it sounded like they just kind of stumbled on the Turned Clouds groove, and they're like, okay, we'll play it again. Interesting short gap for the song. Just played a couple shows ago in Philly, but this was, it was cool. It didn't seem to let up on the energy during this, even though Turned Clouds is a slower song.
It's also one many will know, though.
Yeah, there was a lot of people singing along to Turned Clouds too. Everyone knew the words last night to that one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Yeah. What was the reaction to the segue and the T? Obviously, is a big crowd pleaser, set closer that I think we all saw coming last night.
People were surprised. They were like, "What, are they going back into Hot Tea? Like what?" And then they're like, "Oh, they are." Oh, and so that was like a big, nice surprise for a lot of people there, I think.
Mm-hmm. That's great. And then a nice escape encore, little pina colada song. Would like to take this second to shout out the guy from the hotel in Portland in August. If you have not seen his Twitter rant about being in a hotel next to the Goose show that was happening, and he's not a fan of this song.
The Portland, Oregon one, Pioneer Square, or what?
Yeah.
What was it called?
From August, Pioneer Courthouse
I can't
Square.
handle Portland shows.
Yes.
That, so.
But man, that was that's quite the thing. So seek that out if you haven't seen it. But it's a fun encore, and again, perfect fit for this show. I think there are shows where they've gone for a party vibe and they'll throw something like a mid-second set Seekers in that'll kind of interrupt the flow or the energy. It felt like last night they put together two really strong sets. No loss of momentum at any time. Just the energy felt really high, even from the couch. And obviously, the singing was coming through really strong. But man, seemed like a really, really fun show to be at. Drew, am I off here or?
No, you're right. The enthusiasm was super high. One of the highest shows I've been at. It was intimate. A lot of first timers that were everyone was excited just to get in the door to that one last night. It was a hard ticket to get. A lot of people that are like, oh yeah, my friends couldn't get in, and I had friends that couldn't get in either. So I think we were all just really appreciative to be in there for that. And during Pina Colada, I think people sang the most to Arcadia and Pina Colada probably last night.
Nice.
And it's funny seeing these college kids knowing these older songs. I think that was entertaining.
Yeah, they're like, my grandma listens to. It's like, oh my God.
Right. my parents played this in the car. I know this one.
Yeah.
It's like they're younger than me even.
But I think, Drew, you also hit on something else, is that obviously they're playing some huge shows, but this ticket was so hard to get. I was texting, I told Ryan it yesterday, I was texting some people that we when these tickets first came out, we were trying to think of like, what 18-year-old do we know at UGA that is willing to sit in a line and get it? They were so hard to swing. So I think the people who got in, it was really, really exciting. And I, as someone who didn't or couldn't get a ticket, am so excited for them. And like, that's why I think the show last night, just watching them and you just verifying, there were so many new fans there. Like those people are going to go home and download these songs. They're going to go home and listen to it. Maybe they'll subscribe to Stormy podcast, but they will like now follow it. That's exactly the show you need it for that. And I just think that I'm thrilled to hear the energy that was in there, that it seemed was in there. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We have a $14 super chat from my brother. Thank you, Andy. That's very nice of you.
Not one of the new fans yet. Not
no.
Yet.
Well, we got 3 nights in Nashville coming up this weekend. That's going to be exciting. Drew, I know you're not going to the shows, but you can be couching this weekend.
I'm going to be in Vegas for my birthday, so I don't think I'm going to be able to stream. I'm going to get my fantasy Goose picks in, though, for sure.
Yeah, don't party too hard that you forget to put in your picks. That's
right.
The most important.
Early. Right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot still on the table for this weekend. What is this now? We're 5 shows into the tour. No Madhavan. No Wisteria. So. And obviously, songs are going to pop up again this weekend. Yes, Nash Vegas.
I also think there should be some space for what I'm always chasing is some dark Goose in Nashville.
Yes, please.
Especially after having like the hyped energy of last night and just some of the shows. Like, give a dark Wisteria to everyone there. It would be appreciated.
We'll see. Will RJ get his way? It is. We'll find out this weekend. But it's going to be fun. We've got 4 shows left on this leg of the tour, and then they've got a couple weeks off before picking it back up for the Midwest and West Coast. Wisconsin and Illinois are not the Midwest, are they? What's that considered?
Midwest.
It's Midwest? Okay, I was right.
Have you looked at a map? Yes, they're literally in the middle of the country.
Yes, Haps would like everybody to know that there will be a vibe review happening on Friday. He will be on again. But yes, we're going to be here, obviously, every day this weekend, 3:30 p.m. Eastern, for Goose's second ever run of more than 2 shows at the same venue. First one being the Cap, of course. So excited to see 3 nights in Nashville. I'm hoping we start seeing some more 3-night runs pop up somewhere because, better than having to travel between shows. I think we can all agree on that. Well, Drew and Katie, thank you guys very much for being on the pod today. Hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. Thank you, everybody, for watching or listening.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thanks, Ryan.
Bye, Drew.